Hi! So for this video, what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to apply false lashes. I do have one on this side so you can kind of see what the end result will be. And then I kind of want to go over like how to apply the lash but also fit it to your eye shape, because that's a big thing when you're applying lashes. If they're not the right size, they're going to be super uncomfortable to wear and they're just going to like pop off, and that's kind of where a lot of people struggle getting their false lash to stay on and to stay on all day. So my favorite lashes to wear are usually the Ardell ones and the MAC ones because they're super lightweight. They have a really thin band, so you don't really feel it on the eye, and it's not as like foreign per se when you first put them on. The Ardell Foam Mink ones are some of my favorites. These ones are the 810s. Unfortunately, when I was going through all my lashes, I happened to notice that I had already pre-cut all of mine. It's something I like to do when I kind of first get them. Before I wear them, I go through and I just cut them, so that way when I do go to wear them, they're already ready to pop on and go, and I don't have to worry about that the day of. But I was able to find some like random ones that I had in my drawer that had not been touched yet. So I have the LA Colors ones. These ones are Dainty 975. Couldn't even tell you where I bought these. I've had them forever. I'm a lash hoarder and I will buy a ton of them, and then I just like never remember to put them on, or think about it like after I've already left the house. I was like, oh, I meant to put on lashes, and I completely forgot. So a lot of them go unused and they're just sitting there forever. So first things first is kind of pulling the lash off of the container. So a lot of people will just like pull it. You're gonna ruin your lash. So like 9 times out of 10, you're gonna pull a hair out of the strand, or it's gonna separate and it's gonna look wonky because it's gonna look like you have a gap. So the best thing to do is almost use the side of your thumb, and you want to just pull it away from the case like that. So you're just very gently pulling as you go. And the reason why this is so important, because if you just try and like grab and pull, they're going to end up all wonky looking, like, because it's all basically just on one band and it'll move the fibers around, or you could actually pull the hair out of the band itself. So here you have your lash. So now what you want to do, I mean, these ones are pretty flexible, but sometimes they get too kind of stuck to the shape of the container that they came in, so you want to just really like break them in. Make them nice and curvy, curl them around in your finger. This will give them some flex, so when you go to apply them to your eye, they're a little easier to mold. So now the next thing to do is to measure your lash. Before you even put it on your eyeball, measure it. Because if I just go to put this on right now, it's going to be way too long for my eye shape. Some people can easily get away with just taking a lash out of a container and putting it on their eye, especially if it's if you have a bigger eye shape or a wider eye, or if the lashes that you bought are smaller in size and you do have a smaller eye. Sometimes you don't even need to cut them, so don't feel like you need to cut them every single time, but it is most times you need to cut them. So some good tools to have on hand are just some like little scissors, lash glue for sure. I always recommend buying the Duo latex free. And the reason is, like 9 times out of 10 when people have like really itchy, irritating feelings when they're wearing lashes, it's because of latex, and you have a very slight latex allergy, whether you realize it or not. Or it's because their lashes aren't cut correctly and they're just not on properly. But a lot of the times it's usually a latex irritation, so that's where the latex free comes in handy, especially if you're not sure or you've never used lash glue before. I find it safer to go to the latex free version. But with the latex free as well, it doesn't take as long to dry down as a typical lash glue would. So a lot of the times too, when you go to put it on your eye and then it's moving everywhere and all of a sudden you have glue like up to your eyebrow, or you've glued your eyes shut, it's because you didn't let it sit long enough to dry, because we all get impatient and we just want to like throw it on there. So using the latex free, you don't have to wait as long for it to dry down. It's a good little tip, and it's something that I always have on hand when I'm going to do lashes, because like you, I'm impatient as well and I just want to pop it on there and go. And then these are optional. These are a lash applicator. These ones are the MAC ones, but I know some lash brands actually include it with your lash container. Doesn't matter what you have. Some people like to apply the lash with this if you have, like, I don't know, bigger fingers or long nails. I don't know. To me, it's easier just to use my fingers itself, but it's personal preference. But I will use this at some point during the video. But a lot of people will like to take the lash and hold it like this with the lash applicator, and then they can go ahead and just pop it on. It's a lot easier for them than using their fingers, whatever works for you, but a lot of people find this helpful. And then this is optional, but I like to have a eyeliner handy, especially if this is like your first time applying lashes. Sometimes it's easier to put the liner on first, so that way if there is a little bit of a gap in between your lashes, like your natural lashes and the lash bands, you can't tell. But then sometimes too, when the glue dries down, you can still see a little bit of where the lash band is, and I like to go over it with an eyeliner just to make it look more natural, especially if you're not wearing any shadow underneath the lashes. Like here I have some shadow on, but I have a very neutral shadow on the base, so if my lash band was showing, it may be a little bit more noticeable. Especially too if you do it on a darker color, sometimes it's either more or less prominent, so having just like an eyeliner handy to go over the lash band afterwards just helps them look a little bit more seamless. So now when it comes to sizing your lash band, what you want to do is you want to basically just take it, no glue or anything on it, and hold it up to your eye. So when you're placing the lash, you want it as close to your natural lashes as possible. Now obviously without glue on it, it's not the easiest thing to do. And the best thing to do when you're trying to measure it is just kind of like place it as easily as you can on the center of your eye. If you look close here, you can see that it's not attached on either side, but this part here is definitely hanging off like I need some help. So we're going to trim them a little bit. I did obviously already trim this side, and I ended up just taking like 3 little notches of hair off on the lash to make it fit my eye easier. And what I do too is as I cut them, I go ahead and measure. So if you're too scared and you're worried that like, oh, this is going to fit right, take a little off at a time, just keep going back in and measuring until you feel like it's at a good place. The other thing is too, if you look at the lash, right, on this side here, you're going to have shorter hairs than you would on the outside. That being is because natural lashes, you always have shorter pieces in here. You never want to cut from the shorter side. You always want to cut from the side that's longer, because if you cut from the shorter side, it's just going to look wonky in your eye. So cut from the longer side because it will still give you that fanned out and natural effect without sacrificing it cutting off on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors and I'm just going to cut off those 3 little notches of hair. So after that you should have your little part that you cut off there, and I usually either toss them depending on the look that you're doing. Like I will sometimes take the small ones and just add them to the bottom, just to give my bottom lashes a little bit more effect, but personal preference, most of the time I toss them. So now I'm going to go back in and put this on one more time. Alright, and now you can see like it's still hanging off a little bit here, but now it still looks more natural than before, where I had all that like the rest of the lash and the hair hanging off from over here. Now even though they're not glued on, like they still look semi-normal. So I'm going to take these off and I'm going to go ahead and apply the glue. So when you're applying the glue, what you want to do is you want to apply it to the lash band directly. It's that thin little line. So often too, I like the ones that come with the brushes. It's easier to paint on. Sometimes I'll scrape the edge if I feel like there's a little bit too much product on there. If you get the squeeze tube one, maybe taking a Q-tip or like the edge of your applicator or something, I put a little bit on your hand and then take it. Don't just drag the lash through. You're going to ruin your lashes. They're going to get disgusting. They're going to get dirty. You're not going to be able to get as much time or wear out of them. So you just want to very lightly go over that lash band. Now this will go on clear, and it goes on like this like clearish blue color, and then as it dries it turns clear. When you start to see the color change to clear is when you know it's like tacky. You know it's a little, like you don't want it super dry when you adhere it, but you want it to have a little stick. So if it starts to get mostly clear is when you want to throw it on your eye. The reason why you want it tacky is because you don't want it to slide across your eye. Because if you do, obviously you're going to end up with lash glue everywhere, and if you are wearing shadow, you just ruined your entire look that you just put on there. But you don't want it too dry either, because then it won't stick. So you can kind of start to see that it's getting clear, and then you know that it's good to go ahead and apply. So when you're applying, it's the same thing. You want to just kind of place it in the center of your eye. Doesn't need to be perfect, but just kind of plop it there. So now you have either corner that have not been like tucked in yet. So what I like to do is close and adhere to one side first. Doesn't matter which side you start out with. And then once you get that down, you're going to look in the direction with your eyes that you're adhering it to. So if I'm doing this side, I'm going to look down to the floor this way. So you can see here, and I leave my eyes open a little bit, and I'm just going to press this in to my lash line here. Now the reason I'm doing this is because it pulls the skin of your eye flat, and it helps the glue to adhere better, so you don't get like those pieces that pop off and they're a little happy, 10 minutes after you leave the house. Alright, and then you can make any adjustments if you feel it. Like sometimes I will press it in a little too low and I just need to prop it up a little bit. Now I gotta do this side. And I'm doing the same thing, except now I'm looking down this way to the floor. You're just going to basically look straight and look down to the floor. For some reason, this is so much easier for me to do with my hands than it is to do with the lash applicator. But everybody's different. If the lash applicator works for you with this, absolutely go ahead and use that. But for me, this is what's easier. Now we got them on there good. This isn't something you have to do, but I do like to take the lash applicator afterwards and just go ahead and squeeze your lash line into, your natural lashes into the false ones. And it just helps them lay a little bit better, so when you turn to the side, you don't have like your line of natural lashes and then your faux lashes. Now, also optional, but I do like to take the liner, and if you look really close, you can see here how this connects all the way through, and this one has a little bit of a gap between where you can see like my faux lashes and like my natural lashes ending. I just take a little bit of an eyeliner and very gently just connect that line over, and now it just looks like it continues that lash band, and then you can go ahead and cover the band on the lashes as well, just to help it look a little bit more natural. And now you have false lashes. Now it does take practice. Don't, give up if you don't get it the first time, but hopefully this makes it a little bit easier for you. As for sizing your lashes, it's not the easiest thing to do. I'll say that firsthand, but the more you put it on there, the more you'll okay, this is a comfortable fit. Once your lashes are on, until the glue completely dries, they will feel a little bit funny, but they shouldn't be itching or poking you. If they're itching and poking, it's usually because they're not on correctly or they're not sized appropriately. Now the other thing too, which is also really helpful, if you do shop at MAC or Sephora or Ulta, most of the time if you purchase lashes, they will size them for you. So I know they definitely do it at MAC. I can't really speak for Ulta and Sephora. I think it just kind of depends on the representative you end up having helping you. But I know at MAC, if you purchase the lashes, they will size them for you. So you can purchase your lash, they'll sit you down and size them, so then that way you can take them to go pre-size, and all you have to do is pop glue on top and you're ready to go. Every lash style you buy is going to be sized a little different, so I wouldn't try and match up your lashes to your other ones that you have, because each one is going to look slightly different on your eye, and you're going to want it to, be trimmed a different way. But yeah, if you're having a hard time trying to size them and you buy them at a retailer, the artist helping you will most likely have no problem cutting them for you. But hopefully you guys have an easier time applying your lashes after this video. Thank you for watching.